What's going on YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about freehand sharpening the Endura 4 ZDP-189. I have the Shapton Glass 500 grit on a, right now it's just like a makeshift wooden sink bridge. I don't know, I can't find my sink bridge right now. It is sharp, so we'll just get rid of the edge. That should be pretty good. Try to give some pointers as we go too. I know it seems like a lot of guys are intimidated by freehand sharpening, but there's really not a whole lot to it but to just get in there and practice. You know, don't pick your favorite knife to do it. Maybe pick a knife that you don't care too much about, and excuse me. And you know, over time you'll be able to sharpen pretty easily, but in the beginning it definitely takes a little bit of time. I'd say it probably took me like a good 6 months to get like proficient where I can do this. In the early stages I was doing like the 1, 2, 3, you know, counting to 10 and then going to the other side. At this point, you know, I can kind of stick to one side and then go to the other, and then deburr and strop and all that. The Endura, if you have it, is a pretty forgiving knife to sharpen in that the blade is straight. So as you can see here, the profile is pretty straight. The straighter the knife, the easier it is to sharpen. So if any of you guys have like a Wharncliffe blade, I'd probably suggest using a Wharncliffe to learn. I didn't have that when I first started. You know, I was using kitchen knives, so my favorite knife to sharpen was a Santoku that didn't have any, you know, it didn't have any like belly to it. So I would just stick to sharpening my Santoku, and once I got good, I'd go to like heavier bevel or heavier bellied knives. Yeah, the burr already flipped. I did cut myself earlier, but that's not from sharpening right now. So if you guys see any blood, it's not because of that. I actually nicked myself with a handsaw earlier in the day, but that doesn't have anything to do with sharpening. I just wanted to show how effective this Shapton 500 grit ceramic stone is. It's one of my favorite stones, if not, it might even be my favorite, honestly. It's probably between this and, for synthetic stones, it's between this and like the Shapton, probably 2000. Just the way that it feels, the feedback it gives. It's a nice stone. It's a pretty hard stone, but it still has like tactile feel and feedback, which is pretty cool. A lot of the harder ceramic stones you don't get a ton of feedback from, and it's not the case with this. So when I talk about feedback, I'm talking about how the knife feels on the stone and what you're hearing right now when I'm not talking. So the sound that this knife is making on the stone. That's the stone talking back to you. So that's what you listen for, and it just comes with practice. there's no like real easy way to learn where the burr is. You know, you can feel it, but there's no easy way to know where you're at by listening. That just takes time. Alright, and just like that, we have a burr on both sides until I flipped it again. So I'll do some light single strokes. Cleaning the stone off quick. And now we'll start doing edge trailing strokes. So let me just give you guys a quick rundown. So if whoever's watching this, if you're new at knife sharpening, taking the knife and going this way with the edge going away from you is called edge leading. So pushing the edge into the stone. When the edge is facing towards you and it's going away from you, that's called edge trailing. So the edge is going away from the stone, not into the stone, if that makes sense. And that's the method of deburring that I use. And then a lot of times I'll just go back into the stone, depending how hard it is to get the burr removed. But usually I'll go like this 500, and then normally I'll jump to either my 1000 or 2000, and I don't usually bring this ZDP-189 up to a crazy high polish, just because I use it for work, and I prefer a toothier edge for work. This stuff just gets stupid sharp. Now you can bring this up to whatever polish you want. I just don't feel it necessary. See if we can get a shot of the edge. Come on, focus. So you might be able to see that bevel. There, you can see it. I'm using an older camera right now, just because it has a screen that flips around, so I can easily see, what you guys are seeing. But unfortunately, the focusing system on it isn't that great. Okay, so I'll be right back in just 1 sec. I'm gonna go grab either my 1000 or 2000. Alright, let's go with the 2000 for this. I can make a jump from 500 to 2000 on this for sure. The stone was flattened not too long ago. Oh, actually, let me turn it this way. Alright, and the 2000, just make sure this is focused. Sorry guys, I don't know why the hell this thing is. Okay, we're good. The 2000 is kind of it's an in-between stone, so you'll get like a little bit of tooth from it, but it's also starting to polish. You won't get like a mirror polish by any means, and you're not going to get like a ton of bite from it either. I think it's like the perfect go-between. If any of you guys that are watching this watch Perfection or Ricky Tran, he talks about how his favorite two stones are the Chaucer 800 and the Chaucer 3000. And the reason for that is because you can get an edge off both stones that is good for like kitchen knives. And excuse me, I find that the 2000, this Shapton 2000, gives me a good edge for a working edge. It's like that perfect go-between of sharpening and polishing. It's a funny grit, but as you can see, it loads up a little bit. Like the 1000 won't load up like this as easily. Like the 500 you saw, it sheds a little bit of grit, so it'll keep polishing and doesn't load up. This stone loads up just a little bit. The 1000 won't do this, it'll shed more grit. But this will also, I had two spots right here where my bevel was just a little too high, and it dug in, and it will skim the surface and kind of grab, peel back a little bit of the stone, which isn't a huge deal. The harder the stone, the easier it'll do that. So you just have to be careful. I was putting a little bit too much pressure. So I don't know if you guys were able to hear that, but I just heard the change, and now I can feel it that the burr flipped. So it was going this way, and after sharpening like this, the burr just lifted back to this way. There's actually one little spot right here that it didn't flip yet, but it will in just a second. Yeah, now it did. I'm using very moderate pressure. The only pressure I'm using is with my left hand, just to keep in contact with the stone. And the knife, I'm lifting up on it as I get to the toe, or I guess you could call it the toe, or the tip of the knife right here. I'm lifting up with my arm. My wrist tries to stay as straight as possible through everything. The more you move your wrist, that's how you mess your bevel up. So you want to keep it as straight as possible, and just kind of like, I don't know if you can see, I'm rocking back and forth a lot, my shoulders and my body. So I'm kind of up on my, not on my toes, but I let my body move as it needs to. And I let my shoulders go back and forth. But I want my wrist to stay as straight as possible. If you guys are really new into sharpening, what I used to do in the very beginning was I would take a Sharpie, much like I did, I don't know if you're watching this, if you've seen my Hapstone sharpener video, but a lot of the guys who use fixed angle sharpening systems, they'll take a Sharpie and they'll color the edge of the blade with a Sharpie, and then as you sharpen, you'll know where you are. So where that Sharpie disappears, you know that you're getting rid of steel there. Once the Sharpie is gone, that's how you know that you've removed steel. So I'm not done yet, but I'm going to try to get a shot of the bevel so you can see the polish. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. So you can probably see it's not a mirror. There we go, I think it's going to get it now. So you might be able to see that it's not a mirror polish, but it is getting much more reflective. It actually matches really close to the finish of the blade. So there you can see, the shininess of it. So now I'm just gonna put some water on this stone. And we'll do some edge trailing or deburring motion. It's raining really hard here right now. It was thundering and lightning earlier. Right now it's just downpouring pretty bad, but the thunder isn't nearly as bad as it was before. As I say that, it just goes. But the dog wasn't too thrilled. She's sleeping right now, so I'm not. Every time I take a video, her shaking and scratching is always in the background at this time, so I think she's trying to sleep through the thunderstorm, so she's not making noise in the background, which is cool. I'll take it when I can. Alright, I think we should be good. Let's see. I got some paper here. And it's pretty clean. There's one little hang up. I think that was me more than the knife. But once it gets stropped, you can see it's pretty clean. And when you hear it, you probably heard that there weren't any like crazy snags or anything. That's just me getting the paper started, but it's not a ragged edge, but it's not like a perfectly, you know, whisper quiet cut, which you're not going to get that with a 2000 grit. In the, you know, in this circumstance. Well, you might be able to, but I'm not able to in this circumstance right now. For me to get a better cut, I'd have to stay on the 2000 a little bit longer and deeper for a little bit more. This is a 1 micron diamond spray from Chef Knives To Go, and it's on kangaroo leather. So I actually made this strap. It's just a paddle strap. It's got a little piece of leather on the back. It's got a good handle on it. And then this is kangaroo flesh side, and this is cowhide, and it has like the, well, maybe this is flesh side actually, but either way, this is like the outer part, you know, like the top grain of the kangaroo. And this stuff is crazy supple for being sprayed with a water-based diamond spray. It's pretty awesome. It is thin, so you need a flat piece of wood to put it on. There's the dog, she woke up. You need a flat piece of wood to put it on, otherwise, like the dips and you know, like the peaks and valleys of the wood, if you have a piece that has, you know, anything missing, like chunks of it missing, if you don't fill them in with like glue before you put the leather on, or you don't have like a nice flat piece of wood, you'll feel it as you strap. And there's actually a part right here in the strap that I can feel when I run over it that it's a low spot. It doesn't affect the strapping, but just something to think about if any of you guys do decide to make a strap. Let's see if we can show this edge off. There you can see it's got a pretty good mirror polish on it with that 1 micron diamond spray. And 1 micron I found to be like a good jump off strap grit. That's weird. I don't know if there's just something on it or what, but like something stuck to it. I think there's like crap on it. That might have been what was keeping it from cutting. Yeah, because now it's cutting. I think I just had some shit on the blade that kept it from cutting. And see if we can get this in frame. There you can see a bunch of hair came off. So it will shave, it'll cut paper, and now I have another bald spot on my arm that my wife can be thrilled with. But alright, I just wanted to show you guys that ZDP-189 can be sharpened, and you know, you don't have to go to 10,000 grit or 16,000 grit. There's nothing wrong with just going 500 to 2,000 and then a 1 micron diamond spray on a strap. I guess that would be considered like a 16,000 grit if you put it into a grit rating. It's right around there, like 15,000, 16,000. But yeah, you can get a good working edge stopping at 2,000 and jumping on a strap. And that was going right from 2000 to a 1 micron strop. Realistically, I probably should have went to a 5 micron and a 3 micron and then a 1 micron. But, you know, just trying to get the video done for you guys quickly and so you don't have to stick around forever. You know, when you're making videos, it's different. If I'm just sharpening and I have all the time in the world, you know, I can go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But for YouTube, I try to get it done quickly so that you guys don't have to be here forever. So if you saw this, thank you very much, especially if you stayed till the end. Thanks for watching. Again, this is Mike from I Heart Knives. If you give me a thumbs up or leave a comment and or subscribe, that'd be awesome. Thank you guys for your time, and we'll see you on the next one.